On Saturday, April 8th, I went to Six Flags New England in Agawam, Massachusetts for opening day. Although I knew it was opening day, I didn't really know what to expect. I had a feeling there would be a decent amount of people there, but since it was a cold day in early April, I didn't think it would be too busy. As for the coasters though, I didn't expect them to run as well since it was so cold out, so those were just my expectations right off the bat. When I actually got to the park, the first thing I noticed was that the landscaping after the entrance looked amazing. There's spring flowers everywhere, the flower beds were freshly mulched, and there were even Looney Tunes characters to greet the guests.
Hey Peppy, how you doing?
A very good first impression indeed. The first thing I did that day was head to Superman, and the first thing I noticed was that they seemed to be having some technical issues with the ride. Either that or they were just testing it for opening day. Unfortunately, because of this delay, I had to wait an hour after the park opened to get on Superman. Thankfully, they had 2 trains going, and without the VR, the line moved quickly and efficiently throughout the day. After an hour of standing in line, I finally got on Superman, and it was just as intense and awesome as ever. Despite the cold weather, it was running very smoothly, and it didn't feel slow at all. The feeling of getting on such a big coaster after months of not riding one was incredible.
I just rode Superman the ride for the first time this year. That was awesome. When you haven't been on a roller coaster in so long, the first ride is just so incredible, and the drop, I was frozen during that drop. I've been on it so many times, but I never get tired of that. That was so good.
After leaving Superman, I took note of a couple things I hadn't noticed before. First thing I saw was that the park's Chance Wipeout has been renamed to Kryptonite. It was formerly known as Joker's Wildcard, but with the opening of the Joker later this year, it's pretty obvious they don't want 2 rides with Joker in the name. Unfortunately, the ride doesn't look as cool as it used to, but it still looks nice with Superman running right next to it. Another thing I noticed that I'm honestly surprised I never took note of was the smoking area behind the Gotham City Gauntlet.
And over here by Superman, we have what was gonna be the entrance to the Dark Knight coaster. Yeah, Six Flags New England was actually going to get an indoor Wild Mouse coaster called the Dark Knight coaster. It was gonna be basically the same thing as the one at Great Adventure. But unfortunately, Six Flags couldn't get the right permits, and so they just had to pull the plug on it, and instead they relocated another Wild Mouse coaster from Kentucky Kingdom, which you see right over there, and they named it the Gotham City Gauntlet. So this entrance is just sitting here, and it's actually pretty cool to see, what would have been. But it's kind of weird they made this a smoking area. I think they should make it maybe put in a flat ride there or something. I don't know. Something cool. Maybe a Harley Quinn flat ride.
The next coaster I hit up was Wicked Cyclone, and unfortunately this ride suffered from some of the slowest operations I've seen in quite some time. For those of you there who were wondering why dispatches took up to 10 minutes long, here's what likely happened. You see, when the guests first enter the trains, they're supposed to buckle their seatbelts before pulling down the lap bars. However, the employees would often forget to instruct the guests to do this. This resulted in guests pulling down their lap bars prematurely and employees not being able to check their seatbelts. It didn't help either that the weather was cold and cloudy at the same time with a pretty brisk wind chill. It was like waiting inside of a walk-in freezer. To be fair though, this was probably the first day at work for a lot of these employees. Hopefully as the year goes on, they'll get more comfortable with what they're doing. Fortunately, the coaster itself was running flawlessly. It was just as fast, smooth, and intense as it always is. Plus, the airtime has never felt crazier. I'm serious, the airtime on this coaster is so intense that I found myself holding onto the lap bar. I really need to ride some more RMCs.
Wait until the copyright music goes away. Oh, I just rode Wicked Cyclone. It's just as great as ever. The airtime is, I don't know what it is about it, but for some reason the airtime feels a lot more intense than it usually does. Probably because I feel like a freaking popsicle right now. I am so cold. I have never been to a theme park in this cold of weather.
Next up was, surprisingly, Flashback, a coaster I haven't ridden in years.
You know what? I'm gonna do something I don't normally do here. I'm gonna ride the Vekoma Boomerang. Yeah, I'm gonna ride Flashback. I haven't ridden this since 2006 or something. But why not? See if it's rough or if it's not as bad like the one at Lake Compounds. I kind of like Boomerang at Lake Compounds. So let's see how this one is.
While this Vekoma Boomerang was far from the best coaster at the park, it was running shockingly smoothly that day, and I really didn't mind it. It wasn't anything great, but compared to Goliath, it's like an RMC.
Alright, so I just rode Flashback for the first time in ages. Okay, so not as good as Boomerang, but not nearly as bad as Goliath. It was just,
As for Goliath, I decided to skip it that day. Longtime viewers of my channel will know that I don't exactly like this ride, and one look at those bulky Premier Rides trains was all I needed to pass on this one. Before heading to Mind Racer, I decided to get my first look at the park's newest coaster, the Joker. While the track and supports were up and ready, it was pretty clear that there was still more work to do. I saw a construction worker working on the lift hill and a big empty area by the coaster where the queue line and new gift shop will likely be found. One difference I noticed between this Joker and the one at Great Adventure was the green and purple supports. They really did stand out, but I'm hoping that the paint doesn't fade over time like other coasters out there. I'm looking at you, Nitro. I know a lot of people are sick of seeing these things pop up, but I'm actually really looking forward to riding this one. It'll certainly be cool to have a 4D coaster at my home Six Flags park. Another thing I noticed in the area was a new snack bar called Villain Snacks. Now while the building itself was basically a giant rectangle without any real theming, it was pretty nice to see a new place to eat. It serves ice cream, pretzels, fried dough, and more, and I didn't get to eat there that day, but I'll certainly check it out later in the year. Next up, I went over to another new park experience for 2017, the Galactic Attack Mixed Reality Coaster, aka Mind Racer with VR headsets. During the queue line, I even managed to do a live stream, which you can check out on my channel. Anyways, the first thing you'll notice on this coaster is the new trains that were added. I have to say, as someone who didn't really mind the old trains, I can safely say that these are a big improvement. However, I can't really say the same for the VR. Unfortunately, I was kind of disappointed by Galactic Attack. The headsets were not only blurry, but very uncomfortable to wear. My headset was on so tight and was actually pressing against my lower eyelids. Not only that, but because of the rough track, my headset felt like it was going to fall off by the end of the ride. I kept wanting to pull it down to make it more comfortable, but it would only go up, making it even more hard to wear. To be honest, the VR on Superman was a lot better than this, but I'm much more okay with it being on Mind Racer. After all, it's not killing operations on the park's most popular coaster. After Mind Racer, I went over to Batman Dark Knight, the park's only coaster by B&M. Unfortunately, it was running a bit rough that day. However, it's still a pretty decent floorless coaster, and I'm more than happy to ride it when I come to the park. My favorite element by far is that 0G roll. It really is 0G. At this point, I decided to head over to JB Smokehouse to grab a bite to eat. Sadly, it was here that I found that the restaurant was no longer serving curly fries. This was actually more disappointing than the VR on Mind Racer, but I still had a pretty tasty barbecue chicken ranch salad, because I firmly believe that anything with crispy chicken and ranch dressing is more than worthy of eating. Speaking of the food, while the snacks at the park are pretty good, the main course meals are still seriously lacking. I had a buffalo chicken sub at the Take 6 Cafe, and it tasted like 80% bread with chicken and a few drops of hot sauce on the inside. Also, there's a major change with the drink cups this year. You can no longer buy an all-season long drink cup. You can buy an all-day drink cup and get free refills during your stay, but if you want to come back to the park and use the drink cup again, each refill will cost you $1. However, guests with the dining plan will be able to get a free yellow drink cup that gives them free refills all season long. I don't have a dining plan though, so this was kind of a setback for me. On the bright side, right after buying my drink cup, I managed to get a new credit at this park, the Great Chase. The Great Chase is exactly what it looks like. It's a standard kids coaster that will satisfy the younger thrill seekers. However, this one is definitely in need of some maintenance, as it was actually kind of jerky. I even heard one kid say that it hurt. The rest of the day I spent taking video footage, photos, and getting in a few more rides on Superman. The wait time for Wicked Cyclone stayed at about an hour long throughout the day, so I didn't return to it. But Superman was pretty much a walk-on at dusk. This meant that I was able to get a few pretty awesome night rides on it. Believe it or not, on one of those rides I actually got stuck on the lift hill for 10 minutes. Thankfully, I was able to enjoy the excellent view of the park and the Connecticut River while I waited for maintenance to come fix the ride. Also, here's a quick shout out I want to give to an employee that really did her job well.
Just grabbed a cappuccino hot chocolate combo over here at the Candy Cabin. And I just want to give a special shout out to one of the employees there, Mel, aka Melody F. She is just so welcoming, and I know some of the employees here you know, they seem jaded, they seem like they don't care. She seems like she's really having fun with this job. And kudos to you, Mel.
Overall, while there were a couple of setbacks throughout the day and it was much colder than I would have liked it to be, I consider any day at a theme park to be amazing, and I can't wait to return to Six Flags New England again. Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to subscribe and follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You could find links in the description. This is Theme Park Crazy, and I'll see you all next time.